Hello everybody and welcome to Gaming Friday here on Off the Shelf Reviews. I'm Gary.
I'm Geoff.
And we have an extra guest here with us today, Geoff. We have...
Geoff, Monty, I don't know what you guys called me last
we'll call you Jez, Monty, one of the two. You might remember Jez has appeared in one of the film reviews, or no, two. You've done two film reviews with us.
I can barely remember yesterday, but I definitely remember Lockouts.
Yes, Lockout was a favourite. I remember you spoke really highly of it. So now we've been meaning to get you back in to express your opinions once more. And finally, it took a game about creatures in dark shadows to get you out of your own dark shadows.
In shadows we dwell. And it's taken 2 weeks because we tried this one last week and now
we did.
Back again.
This is a second time of trying to record this video. It does appear that the dark ones are trying to prevent us from reviewing and discussing Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth.
You can't talk about Cthulhu. Cthulhu won't allow it.
Yeah.
It's like Fight Club, just involves all tentacles and horrible death.
The thing is, I don't think I ever actually encountered Cthulhu in this game. I had more trouble dealing with Dagon and some of the other horrible things at the Innsmouth town.
I'd like to say the raindrops are a magnificent piece of gaming history.
So we are playing this on PC. I did own this game on the original Xbox, and I'll say now I never completed it. Of course, Ian did manage to complete this game. So the gauntlet has always been laid for me to eventually finish this game. But we're discussing this now because it's a game that I've always wanted to talk about because I think it was pretty much overlooked. You know, the survival horror genre is kind of... A lot of people would say that it has been dead. It has peaks and troughs. I mean, it pretty much turned into action horror survival. Especially, you know, if you look at both Resident Evil and Silent Hill, they both went down the guns blazing route. I mean, I think the last Silent Hill, the main protagonist was ex-army. So
they kind of... They don't make a lot of effort nowadays, I don't think. I think it's safe bets, so that's the problem with most AAA business. It is always going to be the safest bet.
Well, just to get an understanding of where we're all coming from, Geoff, why don't you just say what your favourite survival horror game is? Just so people can get an idea of where you're coming from when discussing this game.
Probably Dead Space, I think is my favourite.
Yeah, again,
it's the early ones. Again, they got watered down near the end, but it was a solid horror game for 2 games.
It was I'd say that was a very good blend of survival horror and action. Sort of survival horror.
Again, gets more actiony as the trilogy goes on.
Yeah, but then like the scares would be diminished by your third game encounter with them. You know exactly what the creatures are about. You're hunting them by the end.
Yeah. You become a badass, all tooled up in your armor and stuff like that.
Which is a total contrast to this game.
Yeah, and the third one, obviously, you got a kind of co-op thing going on, so it's difficult to keep things original because like if you want to innovate, you don't want to be just repeating the same things over and over again.
But
so
the online,
I understand.
Yeah, but there's also doing what
works
works very well. You don't really always need to change what's not broken, you know?
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, I have not yet gone through the Silent Hills.
Okay.
They were generally my preferred.
I would say the first 2 Silent Hills are... I'm going to say, for my favourite survival horror games, it's both... Yeah, Dead Space, a great one, but Silent Hill 1 and 2. Just mind-blowingly brilliant.
A lot of people say that about the Silent Hills. And so they're on my radar, and I will actually sit through them at some point. But the Silent Hill I had for Xbox 360, which was, I think, 2.
It was the repackaged versions, and it was glitchy and buggy as hell.
Well, I never even got to find out, because it just got nicked, and I couldn't find it. I don't know if it got nicked or lost, but I assume stolen, because the box was just empty, and the disc was gone, so I was like, well, where the heck did that go? I had no reason to... Yeah, all I can say is one of the people we must have had around at a party sometime thought, I'd like to play that game.
And just lifted it.
But
unfortunately I have similar stories of games.
Yeah.
So, Jez or Monty?
I don't know. I'm still amused.
I know you're not a big survival horror gamer, but I know you've dabbled.
I've dabbled. Again, I guess Silent Hill, just because of the narrative. For me, everything's about narrative. It's like...
So you like the psychological tormenting and...
I mean... There's so many good games that kind of touch upon this.
I mean, because Alien Isolation was a brilliant example of modern sort of survival horror without having the gunplay.
Yeah, and that's on the knife edge of getting a sequel. I mean, it's still up in the air because the problem with sort of horror games in general, they don't mass market particularly well, which is why companies like EA water them down with
and
Space,
try and make them more accessible to everybody.
And,
Yes, yeah.
And again, it's things like Evil Within, which Bethesda have made, is still more actiony than RPG. You know,
yeah, I will say Evil Within only genuinely made me jump once the entire game time. I didn't ever feel scared.
Again, this is the
I just kind of felt confused more with the Fear Within.
Bringing PC games onto the table, you talk about jump scares. That's what a lot of games like Five Nights at Freddy's attempt to do.
Yeah, but once you've been jump scared a couple of times, you know,
good horror is more about dragging you into a nightmare.
Exactly.
And again, Evil Within is very much methodically that.
So that's why I would say that Cthulhu and the H.P. Lovecraft universe is absolutely ripe for storytelling in the survival horror universe. And I can't believe that there is not another video game form of this universe.
We've got lots of things like Alone in the Dark, which have tried to do the Cthulhu theme.
Yeah.
But then they've watered down, and I vaguely remember seeing, I think it was covered by another chap I knew, even though it's Jim Sterling, but he did a worst of the year, and I think the new Alone in the Dark cooperative was diabolical.
Yes,
it was like a terrible.
Well, I mean, there had
dead.
no horror elements in it whatsoever. It was just an online shooter.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark, where you used light you had light everywhere, and it lost the point of horror. I mean,
I mean, we're looking at this game right now, and it's already you've kind of we had the guy committing suicide in a mental asylum at the beginning, which is kind of a staple of Lovecraft stories.
Oh, absolutely.
That most people, if they even survived a Cthulhu type dark one encounter, would often
just end up killing themselves
due to
or
insanity.
If they're lucky, just live their life out in a padded cell.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, just to reference tabletop games, I've seen entire parties laid waste to by just the mere presence of not even Cthulhu. We're talking lesser old ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
they are all terrifying in their own sense. I mean, Cthulhu's just the most commercial one. He's most well-known one.
The horror itself can literally stop your heart. You drop dead.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing you're dealing with. So losing your marbles is one thing, but you've got a lot more to lose. It's
having your soul devoured and
and being erased from all future past and present.
The thing with what Lovecraft liked to express in his stories was the fact that it's these people actually coming to comprehending that these things beyond the veil is for real. And in many horror movies and things, characters sort of take it for granted, whereas Lovecraft was dealing with the very real essence as if it was real.
You've got people like King who are clearly influenced by
Oh, absolutely. Sam Raimi, Stephen King,
Del Toro.
They all incorporate Lovecraftian elements in all of their works. It just doesn't always go credited. But of course, if you're a horror fanatic, you know the source, where most of the source material comes from. Because there are a ton of H.P. Lovecraft movie adaptations.
Oh, one of our favourite TV shows of the last couple of years, I think you'll agree, is True Detective. Season 1. Season 2 I haven't seen yet. Most people tell me it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, but there was like an undertone of something sinister and darker.
There is definitely a Cthulhu-esque edge to that. They mentioned the King in Yellow, which is another mythos figure, another god in the darkness. But
I mean, that the Cthulhu sort of mythos has really sort of come to life in tabletop and roleplay. Or in board game format rather than video game or TV form. Of course, South Park did an exceptional homage to Cthulhu, like a 3-part episode.
Because they do.
So you're actually playing the game, Geoff. How does it feel playing this wonky old survival horror game right now?
So the graphics, I mean, alright, they're crisper, a bit nicer than the when you're playing them on the original Xbox, high resolution or whatever.
But not too high a resolution on PC.
Yeah, well, we had some troubles, didn't we, getting it to run properly at 1080p, 64-bit operating systems for this old 32-bit game. But, I mean, we're running it on 720p now, and that seems to run stable. But... yeah, I mean, they look alright. I mean, they're still standing up, like, you've got a lot of movie grain here and a kind of cinema effects, which...
It's covering a lot of the
cover a lot
bland,
of the jankier graphics, but...
don't stare at the bodies, Geoff.
You see low polygon counts and stuff, but, I mean, the thing that makes this game unique is narrative, script writing, storytelling, and some interesting mechanics to it.
Yes.
And... I think one of the most interesting things about this game is that it's actually a Bethesda game.
Indeed, yep. Well, Bethesda, as we said, were the ones that did the Fear Within. Evil Within. Sorry, I keep getting them confused.
And
and they do Doom as well, which to a degree
Doom,
is
of
another.
course, yeah.
It's definitely hinted at being a Cthulhu-esque demon.
Well, I mean, that's gone much more the shooter route with Doom 4 or Doom.
It's still sourcing horror material, though.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that it seems here is that the groundwork is being laid for Bethesda to start creating their unique style of first-person shooters. You know, first-person shooters which are a bit more than just run-and-gun shooters.
Yeah.
With a decent narrative behind it. You know, like Fallout is really... That is what this is, you know, but it's, instead of it being a horror, it's a kind of desolate wasteland survival thing.
Yeah, well, I do remember but I think it was Elder Scrolls 3. Which one was that one? Morrowind? I think in Morrowind there was a town of Innsmouth.
Yes.
Within that world map, and all of the buildings were all linked with underground caverns that were filled with lizard men. So you know, so they have continued the tradition of telling Cthulhu type stories in their other games.
Yeah, and you can see that that they are actually a developer that is genuinely doing something different, and this is one of those games which stands out as being really different. I have to
One
admit.
of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this game was the way that your character that you play, psychology is affected when you play the game.
Yeah.
If you go into a room and there are corpses strewn about everywhere, and you loiter around in that room looking at the corpses, your character will start to become unbalanced.
Yeah.
And will start to receive, you know, psychological
Mentally
trauma,
unhinged.
which if you receive too much of this and you are armed, your character will commit suicide beyond your control.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. You'll just be playing the game and all of a sudden your character's like, I've had enough of this.
All I want is to run down some stairs, but I have to worry about some cares.
There are definitely
There's definitely something here.
coming from this.
Get a sense.
Come on, Cthulhu.
Right,
Come on, Cthulhu, let us go.
Yay!
Right.
Let my people go.
Are we recording?
We're
Oh,
recording.
all right. So finally, I've stopped doing commentary for all of the failed attempts. Jesus.
This bloody stairway just kept
As
fucking with us.
That's the reason why this video didn't come out earlier.
We were defeated by the staircase boss.
Right, viewers,
just for
this
yeah,
happens even if you've got the original Xbox version, right?
Exactly.
Jeff,
I've
Jeff,
said
don't
it
look at
on-
the body. If you go insane while we're here, you'll probably kill
yeah.
yourself.
just checking out that body.
But yes, that point in the PC is a notorious crashing point for this game, and I can also tell you now that it used to crash on the Xbox original at that exact same point. I don't know why. I really don't.
Oh, well, it's starting to get a bit darker down here. We got insane asylum type areas of a basement.
But now, due to the multiple amounts of recordings we've had to do over that one spot, I've completely lost my trail of thought.
Yeah.
Well, Cthulhu, he has magical powers. He's a lovely fellow, really.
Well, I mean, like I said, Cthulhu isn't the only dark one that you have to deal with in this game. The environment that I most remember in this game is Innsmouth Town, and it's being treated and called an outsider, as the fact that you're also unarmed. And pretty early on, there is a massive sort of chase that you get wrapped up in, and you have to run from room to room, padlocking the doors behind you, and then there's things like this, where there's brains in tanks.
Brains in vats. Guts in vats.
Drain the waste from his intestines.
Yeah.
Looks like his kidneys.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of his internal organs.
And we're keeping him alive. Yeah.
Science, isn't it amazing?
Beating heart.
That's his beating heart.
The contraption above seems to be controlling his breathing.
Yeah, that's his lungs. Oh, see, you've got a little respirator on it.
Looks like his stomach.
It's pretty damn disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
There's a lot more disgusting
So,
things to
am
find
I
in
gonna
this
kill
game
him by
too.
pressing buttons? Yes,
Oh.
I am. Oh, I'm freaking out. This is the number one problem with this game is you can't look at anything for very long.
Yeah.
You gotta keep moving because
As much as
you'll freak out and go mad and kill yourself.
Your gory curiosity cannot be satiated playing this game.
Now I got this thing. Haha. Once I killed him, I could take the stone. So.
How morally great. But I guess that's no way to live. You wouldn't want anyone to live like that. As a mess, therefore, for most science fiction or horror
So now
games.
it's time to use the giant emerald gems to... It almost looks like you're playing Prey all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Or you could be somewhere in Elder Scrolls. Not to say that Bethesda were involved in such similar art.
Well,
teams.
Lovecraft wrote about lots of different worlds and parallel worlds.
Oh, and again, let's be clear, there is a lot of, again, as we said, it bleeds into almost every storytelling trope.
Dream worlds, even.
Yeah, there's always a dream world or plane of dreams. In any role-play system, I think you'll always
I
find
think
there's a horror edge to a version of it.
Exactly. I could say Lovecraft didn't always write about the most gothic and evil of
Eldritch
creatures
beasts.
and eldritch monsters out there. No, he did eventually. He also wrote a couple of nice sort of themed heavenly places.
It's too hot to
Well,
Well, yeah, he's clearly heavily.
But he was
Heavily
also a very
inspired.
troubled individual.
yeah, well,
being used as a power
that's
source for the machine.
it's the nature of art.
It's
I
like
think.
exactly. I mean, his personality or his sort of ethos sort of bled into many of his characters and creations.
It's too hot to touch.
So there's quite a lot of little puzzles in this
Power
game,
source for the machine.
which clearly take some time to figure out.
Of course.
There's no
A lot of the times, though, it's a case of just pushing buttons.
Yeah, I keep trying to figure out exactly how to power this thing up, but whenever I press it, nothing happens.
It looks like you're going to need another green gem.
Well, so I thought I still had a green gem. I stole the one from in that room, and then there's one right there, which is like, oh yeah, if I
You can't
take
take
that,
it, the door
too
shuts.
hot to touch.
And maybe there's another one somewhere
I
else
think
in the
it's
building.
being used as a power.
maybe I have to use my
Uh-huh.
inventory.
You already had one.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought if I could just go boop and like press F on it, it would do something. But it looks like they're going to make me
It's
use
old
my
school.
inventory.
There we go.
Hey, so now I should be able to press this. Dun, 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 dun.
I think a game making you cognitively consider what is actually happening rather than automatically doing it.
And now I'm
Yeah.
trapped. Oh no!
What could possibly
Yeah,
go
but
wrong?
did you just wake up an ancient one?
I have no idea.
You probably
About
shouldn't
to
have done
find
that.
out. It doesn't look
You've
good,
just
does
opened
it?
a portal to
Yeah. Oh
I
no!
want to say hell, but hell is just too nice of a word to describe what's
It's
coming
just
through
the
there.
Other dimensions.
Look, tentacles from other dimensions are coming through.
Uh-oh. Which Elder what thing is that?
Barry.
Yeah,
Barry.
Oh, which one's that one?
Hello, Elder thing, Barry.
That's Tim.
Well, you've done it now.
Reminding me a little bit of the Half-Life creatures.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Again,
I
Half-Life
guess
is
actually
absolutely, driven on
is,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Creatures and
Ripping-
aliens from another universe.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you get a theme. You're going to see some, cliches again and again. But
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You say it's cliched, but it's its origin.
That's
Everything
it,
else
yeah.
is derived from
Yeah,
these
I mean,
cliches.
that's it,
The
yeah.
stories. This is the first computer game that really got
Probably brought on
to do what if you want to call a cliche, the original narrative. Yes, it's the private detective investigating horror. It's the private detective investigating things you'd understand. That is taken wholeheartedly from the kind of classical ideas that were put forward in the earlier books that explore kind of the undefeatable horror, the things that you just keep
Of course.
pinned at the edge of creation because frankly you can't kill them. The
that-
best you can hope for is a draw.
Yes.
The kind of film noir style that it's
The 1920s.
adopted is clearly adding to the
The fact that you don't
atmosphere
have
of it.
modern technology to deal with these things either.
Yeah.
And again, there's kind of future explorations of dealing with them, and then you end up with things like Pacific Rim, which is very much the giant robots versus
Monsters
giant
from another
monsters,
universe,
yeah.
yet again, yeah.
Low droning tones of the main narrator, like giving you that
Of course, the
overall
private
sense of
detective,
that everything
yeah.
is hopeless
Oh, and the
anyway.
grainy effects. Just to point out, you've got the kind
The
of
movie grain
movie
effects, yeah. I mean, that does cover a multitude of sins as well for
Hey, so
graphical textures and things like that. But I mean, still, look, it's good enough to carry it, and that's the point,
Exactly, it is a game that you can get invested into. It can genuinely creep you out if you're playing it alone at night with the volume cranked up or with the headphones on,
Yeah.
because there are bizarre sounds and the music definitely gets under your skin. And there are instances where people playing the game, I mean, there's sections later where you're walking around Innsmouth town and it's very dark at night, and certain players, including myself, have reported on forums of seeing dark shadows moving around the rooftops, following you round the town, and never once does anything jump out and attack you.
But
And
it's
just
always like,
now,
what the
is it that
is
we've
that
been playing
behind
the
me?
game too much and we're starting to get creeped out and our imaginations are creating these shadows, or did Bethesda write in these scripted events which happen, you know, randomly
To prang
at
you
certain
out.
points that you may or may not see if you're looking in the right area? That's the you know, the
I think narrative
yeah,
is
it's good
important
design.
to this game, and I think for me as a person who loves games,
well, exactly. I mean,
which
this
have good
cutscene is
RPGs,
continuing, and
I grumble about like some modern games where they kind of turn into something else from a narrative perspective. It pushes more to a shooter, or from, you know, a story perspective, it goes too heavy on action.
Yeah. Well, there's moments in this game where you have a choice, where you can there's NPC characters that you can save and or try to save and fail to save, and whether or not you've saved them can have implications on the ending for the game. The more people you save, or the more sort of good karma you accumulate throughout the game, there's a very good chance your character might luckily commit suicide in a padded cell. Best case scenario.
Yeah, the multiple ending factor to this story is, it's something I used to remember in a lot of games where you'd have multiple playthroughs. You're encouraged to almost see the different endings.
Yes, because they are interesting. I mean, this game was pre-YouTube as
Yeah.
far as I remember, so you couldn't just YouTube and look at the other endings. So, you know, you'd want to go
Yeah.
back through and see them. Of course, I
love-
have now since done that, but
Yeah, I love RPGs that give you the array of endings, and I think this does scratch that itch as much as anything. It was always good for that. I'm trying to remember if there's other games that kind of thing. I think Darksiders did. Did that have all endings?
no, it's
No, I don't think so. But that was appreciated.
the Resident Evils and the Silent Hills were quite famous for having
Oh
multiple
yeah,
different
Silent Hills.
endings,
That's why Silent Hill was amazing. And again, we always grumble
including
about the
goofy
movie.
alien
Don't forget
abduction
don't
endings.
forget the movie ending. She got the good ending. Oh no, she didn't. Oh, what the hell? But anyway, it's not like Sean Bean died in that film. He died technically at the start of the next film, then vanished in Silent Hill at the end of that film.
Spoilers for Silent Hill.
Spoilers.
Ah, screw spoilers.
Fucking hell.
It's okay if people haven't seen the Silent Hill films now. I don't think they have any intention of.
No,
Yeah.
they're a unique flavour. I mean, if you're not...
The more I rewatch Silent Hill 1, the movie, the more I get frustrated and annoyed with it, because it visually emulates Silent Hill, but it gets the thematics and the heart of it absolutely wrong,
Yeah.
which
Somehow I
is why
feel
it is
yeah.
more of a commercial thing than it is a real
looks like
respect to the
Silent Hill,
gamers.
but it doesn't understand
I think
Silent
the second
Hill.
one
Correct.
gets closer.
No, the second one
I
gets
like that.
further away.
No.
The second one just throws in more things that were in the different games.
Yeah, but
into
he gets,
one
No,
film.
but if you look at the pure thematics of it, he goes for his daughter. That's his primary target. He gets her out, and with spoilers here again, guys. He saves her, and then he goes on another job.
Yeah.
He's got to go back for his wife, ignoring the grander issues of the film, which is admittedly using the spectacles that you've seen in the other games to pretty good effect at times. But they are treading, the same stories over and over, perhaps.
I totally disagree. Silent Hill 2 is an abomination, and it should be burnt. All copies of that film should be destroyed or sent back to
It's
Silent Hill,
okay.
where that's the only fucking place that a film like that could have spawned.
Oh, the locals are beautiful.
Yeah, he's a good-looking chappy, isn't he?
All
Well,
a bit fish-like.
I think you're finally in Innsmouth Town.
Yep. We had
Outsider.
had a nice little bit of intro, but yeah, these are the kind of local people who.
You'll find that they all look
Yeah.
exactly the same as
they're
well. It's very strange.
freaky. Yeah.
These are...
I think they might have a limited gene pool. What do you think?
No, it's not just the gene pool. It's actually got a little bit of extra genes in there.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they're actually, without going too much,
Oh, no.
Reptilian genes.
fish genes, shall we say.
All right, fish face. Look at him. He's fucking ugly.
I'm looking for Brian Burnham.
These are not the sort of people you want chasing you through the town.
No, this is like flipping Hills Have Eyes.
It is. So right now you're just walking straight into their trap.
Yeah.
You just want to get on that bus and just go
Into
straight
the
out of
lion's
town.
den. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to go
So right
in
now
that
you have
building.
come to Arkham and to Innsmouth Town to investigate disappearances, strange disappearances.
This isn't
Yeah.
Arkham. Arkham's is further inland.
Well, Arkham's nearby.
Yeah, we're in the town of Innsmouth, aren't we? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just having little ganders around at some of the architectural features, like
Again, it's
quite-
very 1920s. It emulates things
pretty.
quite nicely.
yeah.
And like I said, looking up at those building tops is where you'd see those shadows moving around that can freak you out.
Yeah, it's
Reminds-
just
People watching you.
It
It
almost
gives you much
reminds me a
sense.
little bit of that Kingpin. Do you remember?
I remember Kingpin, the game. Yeah, it was a
It's-
first-person shooter.
It's like Kingpin mixed with Mad Max mixed with, yeah, just horror survival Cthulhu. Yeah, it's like brought all together. I think I can see some various other influences in the art design, but
save point.
Small wooden clock.
a small wooden clock.
Again,
See,
the narration is good because in many ways, even though he's saying inane things, the voice actor carries it. And again, I think things you need.
Well, it does get frustrating that he constantly repeats the exact same thing over and over again.
Perhaps, but at least he has a line for it. I mean, it's a lot of effort
Yeah.
to go to.
It's true. It
That's
is.
it,
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than.
Yeah, I think let's
Big
remember.
advancement over that, which was
Yeah.
not that far behind this.
You guys
game,
have
was
recently been playing a little bit of Divinity Original Sin.
Indeed.
And the
Yeah.
voice work on that, again, it's like everybody speaks, all the lines are spoken.
All the
which-
Yep, with all the different
animals.
accents as
Yeah.
well.
Also have all lines of dialogue. Yeah,
Man, I don't think this guy has seen sunlight in the last 50 years.
doesn't he? He looks like a vampire, doesn't he?
He does. Doesn't exactly sound human anymore either. He sounds like a cartoon.
I took out of my belly.
Well, I think we're gonna get ready to close this video up. I just want to end on a high recommendation for this game. If you're a fan of survival horror games, if this one is gone overlooked for you, it's pretty cheap to pick up on Steam. If you
Yeah.
don't, especially if you don't now have, an original Xbox, and a copy of this game might be quite difficult to get hold of.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no excuse for getting this one downloaded. You might have trouble getting past the exact same spot we did with it crashing. Of course, there is a few mods available for the game as well to skip loading screens. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, to skip cutscenes, which are otherwise unskippable.
Yeah.
But if you want sort of a tense horror game with some puzzle moments, there are some good shootouts and some good chase moments.
Yeah.
Some scripted on the rail shooter moments.
Spend a lot of time running.
And of course, perhaps one of the only really good H.P. Lovecraft adaptations. You have to check out this game.
It is very good. I mean, there are very few things like this. It isn't supported by dev updates, so the reason there are bugs in it is they haven't got a dedicated team looking at this anymore. But
Yeah.
pick it up, maybe in the sale, maybe, I don't think it's exceedingly expensive anymore.
Definitely
and you'll get your
one,
value
yeah.
for money if you can just put up with a couple of little bugs. I mean, as long as you're going into it knowing that, I think most things in life can be made easier by knowing what the problems you're going to meet in it.
Well, when has Bethesda ever made a game without bugs?
Well,
Oh, never.
At least
Yeah.
they try to fix them. I mean, certain games like Arkham, another Arkham game, but one involving a Batman. Some people can't bother to fix their games apparently because they break them that badly.
Indeed.
Let's face it, you sit through Bethesda bugs for Bethesda innovation, and that is that's here in this game, and it's almost a shame they haven't continued to do the horror genre, but I'm looking forward to Doom. I want to see what they can do with that. They've had ID Software consulting with them, so yeah, it should be good.
Indeed.
Hopefully,
So
spiritually.
you recommend the game as well, Jeff? You've been sat at the controls. How does it feel on keyboard, mouse? Does it?
It's it's all there. It's the shooting mechanics are like they're average. Like the kind of the feel and the running or whatever. I definitely prefer to move with a thumbstick on a controller rather than WASD.
Yeah.
You don't play this game for dynamic shooting mechanics. You play this for narrative and
Atmosphere
to feel,
and
to feel fucked with and scared and
wandering the dark corners of the Netherrealm.
Yeah, to engage the psychological horror. So that has got this in spades. And the old graphics are, you know,
part of its charm now.
You can forget about it. Yeah, they're still well enough to carry it through. So the art style still, you know, it's dated, but it still stands enough for what you want.
There's many
to do.
classics that do that, and this is one of them.
Yep.
Definitely. Alrighty, I just want to say thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back next Friday with another video game. Of course, our film reviews go up on Thursdays, and sequential Saturdays. We'll be back tomorrow, myself and Ian, with a new game playthrough. So come and join us then. In the meantime, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
Take it easy.
Bye.
He isn't going to spill with anything useful.